Okay, so that's on Sunday, the late game, the blockbuster. But it all gets underway this weekend's action at lunchtime here in the UK at the City Ground, where Forest are at home against Chelsea. Now, Ange Postecoglou's talked about winning trophies and defended his managerial record despite recent criticism.
Yes, we finished 17th. If people think that's a reflection of me and my coaching, then again, I think they're looking at it through the prism of I just don't fit. So we get to the current space where there's a different story to tell, that maybe I'm not a failed manager who was lucky to get this job, but maybe I'm a manager that if you give them time, the story always ends the same. At all my previous clubs, it ends the same with me and a trophy.
So we had a situation where we talked about a manager and a club being patient. Here is a situation where there is already talk of the man 7 games in being replaced at Forest. That's crazy to me. Is that a realistic situation?
I feel like even before he took charge of his first game, there were some people saying that. And this is an example where I think in football we've found ourselves in this place where you can just say whatever you want. And for me, Ange has done very well wherever he's gone. I even remember when he first went to Celtic, and even at that point, and when he was at Celtic, he wiped the floor. He was exceptional. Yep. Before he went there, everyone was like, who's this guy? No, I don't think we want him. And that seems to just be the narrative, unfortunately, that follows him. And there was a lot of that at Spurs. I know their domestic season last year was a disappointment. He acknowledged that. He got them a European trophy. I think it's been so harsh, and it looks a complete mess how it's been handled. And I don't think it's a good look, the amount of chants that have been, heard for fans and people in stadiums calling for managers to get sacked. And yeah, I think clearly their run has not been good, but chanting that from the get-go, that doesn't help any team.
Can I back that? Because if you look at last season, look at this season, Aston Villa winless in their first 6 matches of the season. And everyone's talking about Emery being under pressure. Since then, they've won 4 games in a row. Last season, I want to take you back to last season, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace managed to win 1 Premier League game in 5 months. But Palace stuck with him because they knew who he had. They knew what he could do. Even a good manager can have a bad run. And that's what's happening with Postecoglou. But as you've been saying, Rach, his first season, he finishes 5th with Tottenham. His second season, he wins the Europa League and qualifies them for the elite European League, the Champions League. I think, and I've been in press conferences when he said it, he talks about his Australian football background, and he's very open about the fact that people look down their noses at him in Europe because he doesn't come from one of the superpowers. And I am such a big fan of his willingness to defend himself. Yeah. People say he had a meltdown, 5-minute rubbish. He has gone out there to defend himself. And even though I'm a journalist, I'm very much of the opinion, if you have other opinions about other people, you can't be upset when those other people say, I'm going to come out and I'm going to defend my record and my ability to win things. And the point of football is to win things. That's what this guy does.
We're going to put the record up on screen, though, to show just kind of how bad it is. In 23 matches in the Premier League this calendar year, there are 3 victories for Ange Postecoglou. But the ultimate shutdown.
Those numbers disguise the fact, because obviously 23 games, they would include Spurs, right?
Yeah.
And when it became clear that they were on their way to the Europa League final, he said, I'm going to put my eggs all in one basket. You cannot tell me that there is anybody at Tottenham Hotspur who is enjoying Champions League football right now who should not be grateful to him for doing that. Because in winning the Europa League, I was about to say nobody cares when he finished. People obviously have used that as a stick to beat him with.
Yeah.
But their presence in the elite European League, their ability to attract players, the revenue that they get from being in the Champions League is down to Postecoglou.
What I was going to say is those numbers obviously get shut down because they did win a trophy. And he said all along, in my second season, I will win a trophy. And I'm going to deliver. And he did, he stuck to his guns. He provided. It was the ultimate mic drop moment. And I think at Nottingham Forest, I don't know if you agree, the situation and the way in which he came in, he was announced on the Thursday. He took charge of the game against Arsenal just a matter of hours later, I think 48 hours or something later. He still has not had real time to work with this team. I know the fans are turning on him, but when you look at the time frame, it does feel a little bit unfair, doesn't it?
Yes, it's been a short period. And even you look at those stats, he wouldn't sit here and be like, yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's the outcome I was hoping for, and I want that to improve, clearly. I think that, but that's the thing. The point is, since he's taken over at Forest, they've not had that win yet under him. And I just think the narrative in this short period has just all been negative, and that also affects the reality of the situation and the environment and the players and the training day to day and the pressure. Those things don't lead to a greater likelihood of results. And that's what I always just think when you're, as a fan and, openly I support Aberdeen. And there's been lots of times when we've not been doing well. And you can sit in the kitchen table and you can, have a little rant with your family and enjoy that. But when you go to the games, for me, I'm always like, we've got to back the team because that will be the best chance for us to win. And we might still not win, but it's the best chance. And I just think right now at Forest, they need everyone and everything to come together and move in the right direction. I was there opening game of the season for them this year, and the place was electric. And I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm so intrigued to just feel what it's like, because I just can't believe we're here today.
Yeah, well, come back and tell us next time, won't you? We're moving on to their opponents, Chelsea, though, because Chelsea and their discipline have been discussed recently. Enzo Maresca was sent off in that result against Liverpool. It was the 4th red card in 5 games in all competitions for them. But Maresca's downplayed his red card against Liverpool, saying it was all about passion and a reaction to a last-minute winner.
Should we do a bit of an injury roll call after a couple of weeks away? Can you just give us the latest, particularly on Cole Palmer? You said you hoped he might be available after the international break. That was when we originally spoke to you. Is he, and if not, when might he be?
I was wrong. Unfortunately, he needs to be out probably 6 more weeks. So, this is the update.
When I spoke to you a few weeks ago, you said he wouldn't require any sort of surgery. Is that still the case?
Yes, absolutely. We try just to protect Cole as much as we can, and the most important thing is that when he come back, he's fully fit.
And are you confident that that extra period of rest, that you've got to the bottom of what the problem is? Because obviously you don't want to be here in 6 weeks' time saying that you're wrong again. Are you confident that will do the trick this time?
Yeah, but unfortunately the medical staff, they are no magician. You never know that. Probably you need 6 weeks. We hope that 6 weeks they are enough, but it's a problem that we need to see step by step, week after week. But for sure, he's going to be okay.
And how is he? Because he must be hugely frustrated. He wants a big season with Chelsea. He wants to go to a World Cup.
He looks very good, to be honest. He looks relaxed. He's trying to recover from the injury. He's doing all the therapy that he needs to do. So he looks good.
And who else is out? Who else is in? There's a few that missed, obviously, internationals. There's a few you hoped to have back this week.
Yeah, we have Levi, Liam, that they are still out. Unfortunately, Benoit will be out until December, injury again, and
what injury?
A muscle problem. He was doing fantastic. He showed how good he is. He showed how we need him, and we're gonna wait for him. And then we have Moi, Enzo, Pedro, that they didn't take part of the session yesterday. And we see if they can train today, otherwise they're going to be out for tomorrow.
And Reece? And anyone else? And Enzo,
Reece is fully fit. Reece is okay.
Wow, okay. Let's take you back. It may feel a little bit of a long time ago, but that moment a few weeks ago when you went herring off down the touchline and celebrated. We didn't obviously get to speak to you afterwards because you got yourself sent off. Can you give us a sense of what that felt like and how big a moment you hope it might prove to be?
It was a big moment for many reasons. The first reason is because since I joined the club, we never won a game at home in the last minute. So that was one of the reasons why. The other reason is because we were playing against, in this moment, the champion of England. They won the last Premier League. So it was an important moment for sure. For me personally, it was just a reaction, just a passion moment, just a normal reaction. Yeah, that's all.
And obviously you did get sent off, but I bet you do it again, wouldn't you? For that moment, for reliving that moment.
Was a nice moment. The last season, I was banned for one game for the accumulation of yellow card. Again, the last yellow card was against Fulham away, where we won a game in the last minute. So I think it's part of our job, the moment, the passion, the reaction, and I think it's also nice for everyone, for the fans, for the stadium. So it's just a reaction.
Thanks, Gail. Soraya?
Morning. Last season, do you remember when people were talking about substitutes? They were saying sometimes you make them too late, and you said you only talk about that if we lose. If we win, no one talks about the times of your subs. I want to talk about how Forest have conceded more than half of their goals after the 70th minute. Do stats like that, when you come up against a team you've had a lot of time to prep as well and you like to watch, come into your consideration when you're thinking about your game plan? And how far ahead do you think about substitutes, or is that always really in game?
Yeah, no, when we analyze a team, we try to consider everything, but also you have to go match by match and understand why they concede a goal, in which moment. You know, it's always different. For sure, we with international break, we watch all the games with Angie in charge, and in terms of make change, I think it's something that sometimes you plan, but also depends how is the game. You can do more changes or less. I think especially now with the amount of games that we have from now on, we need to think about change, not only during the game but also in terms of start 11.
This season you've got a good sort of balance. You've got 7 goals scored from open play, 5 from set pieces, 1 penalty. When it comes to that set piece planning to get more goals, how have you worked around that or prepped that in training? Because obviously defenders normally take the bulk of that and you've had to rotate that a lot due to injuries. Is there something that now you're working on a lot more with your attackers? I mean, a lot of managers talk about they need more height in the squad, loads of different reasons. What do you think this Chelsea squad can do to get more set piece goals?
Since I joined the club, Bernardo is the one that is in charge for set pieces, and since last season until today we didn't change nothing. We are working the same way. We spend time about set pieces like I think like a normal club, but it's something that as you said, you can score, you can concede, depends a little bit, but for sure I think overall between the goal we score and the goal we concede, we are doing quite well.
Your team has completed the second most progressive passes per 90 minutes in this league, but you are mid-table for successful through balls. Do you think the team can be a little bit more creative in Cole's absence when it comes to taking that risk in passing the ball through defensive lines? Do you think you can do more of that? Obviously Levi, he did it from centre-back a lot, but are there more players that can take that responsibility in taking that risk?
No, for sure we lost 2 players in this moment that for us last season they have been main players in terms of build-up, and when we talk about build-up we talk also about breaking lines. Levi for us was the main one from behind, Cole was the main one in the middle of the pitch, but I think we are trying to find different solution with the players that we are in this moment we have available.
Thanks, Soraya. Nizar?
Hi Enzo. Who do you think can step up in Cole Palmer's absence? Who can replace him? How do you replace those goals and sort of assists that he provides?
No, first of all, to replace Cole, it's difficult because Cole is a very important player for us, probably one of the best players in the Premier League. So to replace that kind of player, it's always difficult. But I think the ones that we have depends on the game plan. In Cole position against Liverpool was Malo Gusto. So it depends. The previous game against Benfica, I think it was Facundo. So it depends a little bit the game plan we have. For sure, we need to find a different solution. We need to find a different skills because we don't have another player like Cole. Because Cole is unique.
Could I ask you a little bit about sort of the international break? Was it kind of a positive period apart from the Cole situation, you know, getting players rested and things like that? Because against Liverpool it felt like you kind of put everyone on the pitch and it was like a very tired squad. Was it a good period, the 2 weeks, or is it negative because you lost some players?
No, it's a good one because Tosin is back, because Fofana is back, Andrei Santos is back, but at the same time we have unfortunately Enzo out, Moi out, Pedro out, so it's a little bit balanced. But again, we're gonna try our best to find the right solution for the next games.
It was just passion in the moment, the celebration. You don't have a problem?
I don't have a problem in the slightest. The whole point of football, I argued with the referee about this last week. The whole point of football is for moments just like the one that Esteban provided. So if you have an explosion of joy like the one that Maresca demonstrated, why are you penalising a guy for that? And I don't blame the referee in particular. I blame the ruling. The ruling is created by someone who clearly has never played football, with all the stakes that are involved in it. That goal it sends him into the international break in a completely different frame of mind. It could potentially ease the pressure on him. It could be the difference at the end of the season between a Champions League place and a Europa League place. And it is against a side that everyone said was going to smash them to pieces at Stamford Bridge. I have zero problem with those pictures. Absolutely not.
But the rest of the red cards, however, and him being slightly delulu and saying we don't have a discipline problem when you've had that number of red cards in a short space of time, that's a problem. It's a worry, especially in defence where they were already short.
Yeah, I think the problem comes is I don't think it's a discipline problem per se. You know, like the Sanchez one, for example, it wasn't a malicious tackle, he lost his head, he made a decision, he got it wrong, misjudged it, and the rules say that's a red card. Similarly, defensively, last-minute tackle, you're trying to get the ball, you slightly get it wrong, punishment's harsh. They probably need to try and get that consistency, which they're struggling with because of injuries, suspensions, these things. Because the types of mistakes they're making are ones where I think if you get a bit of continuity and a bit of rhythm, those moments that occur in games will be less and less.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's made things very difficult for them. Let's see what happens with Forest against Chelsea. We've got to go to a short break, though. But coming up, we look ahead to Crystal Palace.